Hi, I'm Selena Shorey. Before I begin to tell you about Concordia's Journalism Department, let me tell you a little about myself. I'm enrolled in the Broadcast Journalism program. This program offers students an opportunity to experience all forms of the news media. My experience in journalism has been both fulfilling and challenging. It's real education for the real world. For the advanced TV course, students produce a newscast on Concordia Today, where they are required to report, write, and produce their own material.
He describes the contents of the first issue.
Journalism students are not only equipped with pens, but with cameras in order to familiarize themselves with the technical aspects of the news.
For Concordia Today, I'm Adriana Brasileiro.
Near St. Anne-de-Plaine, I'm Thomas Mall for Concordia Today.
For Concordia Today, I'm Tanya Churchmuch.
This is Paul Gott for Concordia Today.
Ross Perigo is one professor students see a lot of. He is now teaching both advanced television news and radio news.
I've never seen a group of students work harder, longer than I have for this particular course on Canal. They have to produce either a complete package or a smaller narration package for every week of the 12 weeks of the program. That calls upon them to to look for stories that are visual, that gets them organized, that gets them out and shooting and editing and doing it all in a real time frame that's very much akin to the way journalism functions in the real world.
The report was on the last of 3 scandalous videotapes of the military.
However, television news isn't the most important aspect of journalism. Radio and print journalism are equally as important.
From the Concordia Journalism Department, here is the latest news.
The Advanced Radio News course simulates the actual experience of a real radio newsroom. Students work 4-hour shifts for the morning and afternoon newscast. A lot of preparation is involved in putting a newscast on the air. Lauren McCallum is a teaching assistant for the Advanced Radio course.
The writer writes away, the assignment editor monitors the news throughout. We have a researcher, a first-year student, who comes in and writes sports and weather. And then they all run in the booth, hopefully 15 to 20 minutes before we go to air, and practice.
I think you can juice it up somehow, though.
At noon, they put a newscast on the air, which is in every essential aspect an exact replica of a professional radio newscast. After that, we have a post-mortem. We sit around, we replay the newscast, we go over it line by line, and we talk about the writing, about the performance, about the journalistic skills, all the things, all the elements that are required to put on a good radio newscast. It takes about a half an hour, but it is the good teaching time.
If radio and television are two of the end products, then students should know that print is where it all begins for every student. Students in their first year learn how to write for the print media. There are also plenty of opportunities outside of class to gain experience. The Link and the Concordian are 2 great ways to build up a portfolio. Jennifer Goldfinch is one of the news editors at the Concordian. She says working at a student newspaper requires a lot of
patience. I've also gained lots of computer experience. I didn't know squat about layout last September. Now I can lay out my whole section. I can't do the fancy things, but I can do the basic. Stick the pictures and everything else on it. So that feels good. I'm glad I learned that. And I've learned a lot about how it must work in the real world. There's tempers, there's egos, and everyone's got to learn to work together. You have to put the paper out. You can't just say, I don't feel like it. You need to have a paper. We have advertisers. We get paid advertising money. So you learn a bit about deadlines. It's a weekly paper, but you do learn also about stress, deadlines. When you write for the school paper, compared to a journalism class or any class, you know that whatever you wrote will at least be read by a few thousand people. So you have to make sure what you write is 100% accurate. And the experience is much better knowing that what you write is going to be read by people instead of just handing it to a professor.
In order for students to retrieve information for the press and assignments, students can use the computer. Lindsay Chrysler has been a professor at Concordia for 16 years and was in the newspaper business for 25 years.
We really did not have a database and didn't have a course in how to use them, and they're more and more a feature of good journalism and just research of any kind. It's an inexpensive way to give our students really good experience in using that tool.
And Raudsep is the head of the journalism department. He's proud of the department's achievements.
Well, we're very fortunate in that Montreal is the place where Concordia is located. I think it makes it more exciting for the students to be out in a major city where all kinds of news is happening all the time. It's a bilingual city, and the fact that our students have to work in both languages is a major plus for them. There are a lot of newspapers, not only in Quebec but across Canada, who are very keen to have bilingual reporters. And since our students have to have French proficiency in order to graduate, this becomes a major asset. We have students who are now working almost in every newsroom across the country. In television, we have people like Ron Charles, who's now reporting for The National out of Toronto. Joyce Napier, who has also worked for CBC and also for French language television. Diana Bishop, who's a foreign correspondent for CTV. Caroline Van Vlartigen, who works here in Montreal for CFCF television. We've had a lot of people in print, people who are reporters at the Gazette, for example. We have probably a dozen or more, Ingrid Peretz, Walter Bushinani, James Menny, Lynn Moore, list goes on and on.
The journalism department also organizes internships.
As part of my studies, I did an internship in Sherbrooke, Quebec, so I went there for a week at a newspaper, and it was a great experience. It was nice to be able to spend the time writing stories, and I learned a lot from the other reporters there.
I've been to the Gazette. I've also had a chance to do an internship at Shome, and both have really, I think, have been extremely helpful to me, and they've taught me a lot, almost as much as going to class every day.
The internships, which they've helped out with, and I'm doing one now and working my butt off.
There are 3 different programs offered in the journalism department.
Undergraduates, the vast majority of them take the major in journalism. It's 42 credits. A course is 3 credits, so that means 14 courses. Now, in order to get out of here, you've got to take 90 credits, 30 courses. So that means that just slightly under half of all of your university life will be spent in the journalism department. And for that, you get a major. There's a minor in journalism, and it is 30 credits, and it is print only. If you have no interest at all in doing any broadcast whatsoever, you can take a minor in journalism that's print-oriented. You can also take a specialization in broadcast journalism, and that is a total of 60 credits. It's a very, very narrow and constrictive kind of operation, because it means that half of your 60 credits are spent in comm studies, and another half, 30 credits, are spent in journalism. So you really have to know why you want the broadcast journalism, or for that matter, the communications and journalism specialization, which is essentially the minor in journalism, those 30 credits, and a minor in comm studies as well. The vast majority of students take the major.
The journalism department conducts about 200 interviews every year, and all full-time faculty sit in on them. The professors seem to agree on the qualities they look for in future students.
Anybody who can sign their own name. We're looking for students who are keen,
motivated.
That they have a good sense of what journalism is.
A student with some curiosity.
Person who is inquisitive, curious.
Very good English skills.
So there you have it. Not every student gets accepted into the journalism program on their first try. Some students get accepted once they've already completed a year of university and have improved their English skills. Concordia has always promoted a hands-on approach to learning, and there's no better example of this than the journalism department. It's real education for the real world.